Yes, I'm gonna marry Chris. I don't give a fuck. This is my life, and I'm gonna make it work with my man. I'm gonna make it work. Don't play with me.
Overcome another obstacle. So I'm gonna support him. I'm gonna lift him up, and I'm gonna be there for him. Because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person. And that's all I have to say to address him.
So I know we've all seen the videos of the women who come on here and tell the horrible stories about their husbands. To name a few, the woman who made 12 pork chops and her husband ate 3 and was like packing up 6 of them for his lunch for the next day. The woman who forgot her lunch and asked her husband to bring her lunch, and he packed her up some crappy stuff and he put dog food in the bag and said, "Because you're my bitch." The woman who got sick and then her husband simultaneously got mad at her when she told him, he asked her, did she want to be left alone? And she said, yeah, I want to be left alone. I don't feel good. And he got mad at her so he could then lock her out of the bedroom and make her sleep on the couch while she was sick so he could talk to his side chick. You can't tell me that's why he didn't do it. It's so many stories like this. I can't even think. The woman who came on here and her husband left her a little bit of mac and cheese. I've done stories and videos on all of these, but every time these women come on here and tell us the most horrible stories about the woman that was pregnant and her husband was mad because she asked him to fix her something to eat, and he fixed her a raw, like all the way raw hamburger, which could have killed her baby. Like, and she came on to defend him. So yeah, we've heard all those stories and I know we are sick of them, but what we need to start doing is just scrolling past them. I know it's going to take a while for us all to get on one accord, but if we can share these videos, I would appreciate it. It would not only help me out, it would help us to get on one accord faster. So let's jump into these videos and I'll talk to you ladies later.
I feel like it has to be some form of a mental illness when women come on here and tell you the most vile things about their husband or boyfriend or whatever. Like, he doesn't know the kid's birthday. He doesn't know what school they go to. He doesn't know their allergies. He doesn't do household chores. But then when people call him out like, oh, he's a terrible man in the comments, they're defending him with their life, fighting for their life in the comment section like, oh, he's a good man. Don't use this 8-second clip to judge us. You offered up this information like nobody asked you. Nobody would have known what was going on in your household if you didn't tell anybody. But you're here posting it as if it's educational purposes, and then you're mad when people voice their opinion like, oh, he's trash. It's like, what were you trying to achieve? And I feel like deep down inside, they know like they're a terrible person, but they can never like actually say that, or maybe they just don't want to admit it to themselves. But like, I feel like sometimes they're also trying to see what other people think, like if they're gonna be like, oh yeah, my husband's like that too, or if they're gonna call him out on it. But like, it's just always so insane and it never fails. They will always be in that comment section defending them.
So I almost died last night thanks to my husband, but he feels really bad about it. I really didn't want to share this at first because it isn't my husband's fault, but if this helps someone else, I definitely want to raise awareness about this. So me and my husband were having a relaxing evening at our home of 3928 Holly Lane, gate code 0994 to get into the neighborhood. And unfortunately, my husband had a little bit too much to drink. When he gets drunk, he likes to play like these pranks on me. So this time he decided to drive to an ATM to withdraw all of my life savings. So on his way to the ATM, he met some gentlemen that were actually planning a heist in our neighborhood, which once again, gate code 0229. If you want to stop by, just drive straight through the gate, hook a left, and then drive past that cul-de-sac you'll see. And then you'll definitely see my house. There's big blinking red lights. And I also have a sign with my full name, my social security number, my date of birth, my Instagram password, a list of everyone I've ever loved, and also my college transcript. So you'll see all of that right in my yard. You can't miss it. Anyway, so they were already planning a heist in our neighborhood, and my husband, he's such a great guy. He's a big people person. He has a big heart. He's the type of guy, his motto is mi casa es su casa. You know, it doesn't matter. Robbers, kidnappers, people with guns. He really trusted them, and he said, you know what what's mine is yours. You know, come on back to our house. He's such a great host. He even offered them our TV, our computer. Once again, my life savings. He really wants to get rid of that. It turns out they were planning a little more than a heist. We actually were held at gunpoint for about 45 minutes. It ended up being totally fine though. We just had to pay a small ransom. It was nothing. But you know what? It could have been so much worse. Talk about a close call. Well, I got bad news for anyone who wants to try that again. I just got a new security system, and link in bio to see a detailed map of where every camera is, as well as a code to turn off the entire system. That's how not scared I am. Before people get on my page and say, oh, you shouldn't feel unsafe in your own home, how was he supposed to know that they were gonna hold us at gunpoint? It just kind of came out of nowhere. There were really no context clues around it. And before people want to start judging my husband, keep in mind that his parents got divorced when he was 14, and he's been stressed the fuck out ever since, so have a little empathy.
Impersonation of a girl who has posted a heinously unbecoming video of her husband, and it is now going viral, and there's thousands of comments from people telling her that she needs to leave her husband because he hates her. Hey guys, wow. I posted a video yesterday of me and my husband. First of all, it was a joke. I just want to start by saying that it was a joke. And I never expected that it would blow up like that. I never expected that it would get millions of views. And I certainly never expected the number of absolutely rude and frankly inaccurate comments that were left by strangers who literally don't know me and don't know my husband. And I just want to say that you cannot make an accurate assumption about somebody based on a 37-second clip of their life. That was literally a joke. Okay. And so I just want to say that, like, you don't know him. You don't know him like I do. You don't know me. You don't know our marriage. You don't know the 10 years that we have had together, of the ups and the downs. Because God knows there's been downs. You don't know any of that. You just see a 37-second clip that, frankly, guys, is literally the worst 37 seconds of his life. Okay? That video that I posted, that was the worst 37 seconds of his life. And yeah, I uploaded it. Yeah, I recorded it and watched it back and edited it and posted it. But I never could have imagined that there were so many weird and just rude people online that would honestly think that they could make a fair judgment of somebody based on a 37-second video. That, again, was literally the worst 37 seconds of his life and in no way reveals any sort of character flaw about him. So I just wanted to say, I just wanted to come on here and clear the air that I love my husband. My husband loves me. That was a joke. He doesn't actually hate me, no matter what you guys think. And I think this is just a good reminder that your words have weight. And when you comment things like that on a stranger's video, that it actually impacts real people. So I just wanted to say that.
No people doing my laundry right. Why is my shirt in the dryer? Why? Yo, it's my favorite. Why is my good shirt in the dryer? Why? My favorite.
So this is a 30-year-old man who decided to wake his wife up by stomping around like an angry elf because she put his favorite shirt in the dryer. And if you thought this was just an act, oh boy, she deleted the video and is defending his behavior. I can't stand when couples try to become influencers, but the second somebody criticizes their husband, they go, oh my god, you guys, you don't even know Chris. He's such a sweetheart. How dare you? I don't know. You posted him?
Stop showing me your terrible husbands if you are just going to turn around and defend them, because now you've both given me the ick. And I'm just trying to scroll on my TikTok and get a couple hee-hees and ha-has, and now my blood is boiling because your husband is a weirdo, and so are you for defending him. I think we've all seen the little man, nobody does my laundry right, having a little hissy fit. And look, I know regulating emotions is hard. I struggle with it as well. But what we can't do is throw tantrums. What we can't do as grown folks is act like little toddlers, okay? And not only is he stomping around because his wife is doing his laundry wrong, she's filming him and then has the nerve to say, oh, it's just a joke. Baby, he wasn't joking with you. He was angry that his laundry wasn't being done correctly. And he was trying to make sure you never forget it again. And listen, little wifey, if that is what you like, if you like being treated that way, if that is how you like your marriage to go, that is your business. You can appreciate that. You can like that all you want. But once you put it on the internet and the rest of the world tells you that is actually insane behavior, you can't then get mad at us. You knew when you were recording this little man stomping around about his laundry, talking like this, that the rest of us would think that is wild. And again, if that's what you like, but I cannot imagine a grown man acting like that in front of me and then later going to kiss me because that is my husband. The way my body would physically recoil from a grown man that would act that way. And then people ask me, Jess, why are you still single? You have to know yourself. A lot of people in the comments said, well, I would just stop doing his laundry altogether. The next time I did his laundry, I would throw a bunch of bleach in there. I would put in something that he's allergic to so that he's itchy all day, which is all great reactions. I would do something that would have me spending a couple of nights in the county jail. I'm not proud of that, but I know that about myself. So that's why I stay single, because I also can't regulate my emotions if somebody's going to act like that. So please stop showing me your terrible husbands. I love you.
My hubby wore a matching Halloween costume with a female coworker of his that he refers to as his work wife, and for some reason the internet is super upset about it. If you guys didn't already see, she dressed up as a Playboy bunny. She had on a really cheeky lace bodysuit and some bunny ears, so of course he had to go as Hugh Hefner, and I thought that they looked really great. I don't even think people were upset about the costumes in general, because most of you were pointing out his hand placement and the photos that they took together, because in one of the photos he is grabbing her butt, but that's because he's playing a character. Hugh Hefner and the Playboy bunnies always took racy photos like that. And I know what you guys are thinking, because I keep seeing this question over and over again. Well, why weren't you dressed up as a Playboy bunny? You guys, I've had 3 of his babies, okay? I have a mom bod, and I promise you none of you want to see that in a thong bodysuit. And even my husband agreed, because his coworker is freshly 21 years old. She looks a lot better than I do. Anyways, this message is mainly for all you chronically online keyboard warriors. You can leave my husband alone. I can promise you he's a great man. We have a great marriage, one that you'll never get to experience because you're way too insecure and miserable. So
marry the hottest chick you ever been with. The hot scale and crazy scale, they run on the same axis, okay? So you marry the person who have the good looks but not high on the crazy. There's a cross-sectional graph there you gotta hit.
I wonder what the scale is for men. So did anybody else see this video? They were discussing a TV show. She did admit it was stupid for her to ask, like, did he think this woman was pretty? But she was asking because they were watching Married at First Sight, and you could tell that the husband was not really into the wife. And she was basically like, I think she's really beautiful. Like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, like, she's pretty average, you know? Like, I would say you two are pretty similar. Like, you don't ever marry the hottest girl, because if you do, then the level of crazy is like way, way, way up here. But you don't want to marry somebody really ugly, because even though their crazy might be super low, it just doesn't work. So you marry someone who's like in the middle. And this woman goes on to say, like, it's just really upsetting because when I walk into a room, I still think he is the most attractive person. I love that for her. With that said, she loves her husband, and she's like, I feel like that's what love is. That's what you're supposed to feel about your spouse. Not that they're just like mediocre. Now, I will say that the wife did go on and say that, you know, she knows who he is as a person. She doesn't want to come on and defend him necessarily. She was so grateful for the comments, and the comments really did make her realize, like, yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy to wish that my husband thought I was the most beautiful, most attractive, hottest person in the world. No, genuinely, I would just really love to know what this cat's scale is for men, because like, where do you fall? I think it's one thing to be honest with your wife. It was a silly question. She admitted that. Yeah. But I also feel like you have the opportunity to really lift your wife up. And when men say things that they know is not going to make their wife feel very good, I don't understand why say it. I'm not saying he had to lie about the person that he saw on the TV and if that person was attractive, but what he should have said, instead of saying like, you guys are on the same scale, he should have been like, you're the most beautiful woman in the entire world, and I don't really look at women that way. That is how you answer a question like that. I want to know what you would do if you were in this situation. Would you be upset if your husband said that you weren't the most attractive person in the world? Do you expect your husband to say that you are, or do you just want honesty from him? Let me know what you guys think down below.
That's my face after watching another woman justify her husband's shitty behavior on the internet. I don't know if you guys saw the most recent one where a guy is watching TV with his wife and says that the woman on the screen is not only hotter than her, but men don't choose the hottest woman they've ever been with to marry. And like, they're married and have kids. So he's clearly saying, you're not the hottest woman I've been with. Just insulting shit, disrespectful. I just watched her video talking about it. She seems like such a sweet, like lovely woman. It's just sad to see this over and over again. And infuriating to see women putting up with it, yes. But sad and annoying to watch her explain why she's not going to divorce him. It's not that big of a deal. It was mean, it was hurtful, but you know, they can work through it. Meanwhile, he's just another toad of a man, and she's gonna stick around knowing deep down what he truly thinks of her. And mind you, while she's not actively defending him in this scenario, she is still trying to explain that he didn't really mean it the way it sounded. It didn't come off the way he intended to. Like, sometimes men just say things that doesn't come out right. And also that she still thinks of him as the most attractive man she's ever met anytime she walks into the room and he's there. Okay, first of all, go see for yourselves. If you haven't seen it, watch the video and you tell me who's the more attractive one in that relationship. But this is the problem. Women, once we are intimate with a man and we fall in love and we're dedicated to them, we see them as hot. We see, like, that's why we're dating these ugly losers. And that's why I think it's important to stop doing that. Because they would never do that for us. And they're secretly thinking, yeah, I settled for this woman because I'm not good enough for a woman who I think is attractive. But somehow they're thinking they're better than us simply because they're men. Really, make it make sense. I don't know, having respect and admiration of your partner is just like, I don't even want to say the bare minimum. I'm so sick of hearing the term bare minimum. It's like, why are we even having to go around talking about the bare minimum when we should be getting the full maximum?
And she's right. Once women have sex with men, no matter how ugly they are, no matter how bad they treat them, the women are like in a trance or a spell. And that's why I say it's called digmatized, because women really do love these men and can't see any wrong in them. And it's obvious that women are under some type of deep spell.
Understand something. Why do y'all post y'all husbands acting foolish behavior, treating you like scum on the earth? Y'all post them do this, and then of course when the public responds accordingly, when the public eats him up as they should, you're then going in the comments, no, he's so good to me, he's so good to me. Why would you even post that then if you were gonna come on here defending? Like, you know what you know what you're doing. That's my thing. They know what they're doing. Y'all know what y'all are doing, and I'm sick of it. Y'all posting your husbands acting foolish, boo-boo the fool, and then when people call your husband boo-boo the fool, you too are acting boo-boo the fool in the comments trying to defend him. Stop it. Stop one or the other. Stop posting your husband acting foolish and then acting surprised when people call out that foolish behavior, and or stop defending the foolish behavior that you posted on the internet in the first place that you knew people were going to call foolish. Come on. I'm watching a video of the woman whose husband I'm watching around talking about some, you didn't wash my clothes correctly, like I'm not a grown man. Grown man. Full beard and all. Why is she in the comments defending the man? Oh, brother, let's move on. Let's carry on. You love it there. I'm not going to complain on your behalf. Clearly, you love it there. Clearly, you're having a blast. Who am I to judge? Who am I to tell you? Clearly you already know, and clearly you love it there. So I'm not gonna, that's okay. That's okay. If you like it, I love it.
Okay, the husband who packed his wife literal chips and cookies and then dog food. Disgusting, insane. And then the woman's response to it is just like to like stand 10 toes down behind her husband, like, no, he's a good man, like, we joke around with each other, like, blah 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 blah. Okay, sure, whatever, like, you can think he's a good husband, but then what was the point of posting the original video? Like, you know people are going to criticize him. And this, like, I always think this about, like, any time a woman posts a video of like her husband clearly being really rude or inconsiderate or incompetent, and all the comments are usually exactly what you expect them to be, you know, telling her to leave him, or don't put up with this anymore, or, you know, see how he likes it if you did this to him, but it's usually the same response from the wife of like denial and like defense, which is understandable. But then why post the video in the first place? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like they're posting it to be like, oh, look how horrible my husband is. But then they're like, do they think he's not that horrible and that's why they're posting it? But they obviously know he's horrible because he packed dog food and you're like...
Dude, it's like so frustrating because obviously she deserves so much better. And you, why aren't you more upset? Like, what's going on?
Is she there against her will?
No.
Does she need help obtaining resources to help her leave?
No, she could leave right now if she wanted to.
Then it sounds like she's right where she wants to be then.
But he's such a fucking bum. He just sits around the house all day, eating all her food and playing video games. Like, she deserves better. She deserves someone who actually, like, pulls their weight and actually adds value to the relationship. It's not fair. She deserves better. Ugh.
But clearly she doesn't see it that way.
Ugh. You're such a fucking asshole.
Stop showing me your loser husband. Stop showing me your loser husband. Stop showing me your loser husband, boyfriend, fiance, partner, whomstever. Stop. Stop posting it. They just like to get their goals together, to relate, you know? Like, does your husband ever make the kids lunch, but really he just makes one of them lunch and then the other 3 go to school hungry, and then you have to leave work even though it was a really important day when you were about to have a big meeting about your promotion. You had to leave work to get them Subway, and then he didn't even fill up your car with gas, so then you had to get gas on the way, and so then you were late for that meeting. Can anyone relate? No, we can't. No, we can't, because that's insane. I would rather be waterboarded than spend even an hour a day, a minute, raising an adult child who is capable, who is all there, as far as we know. I am tired of seeing people type out, what is weaponized incompetence, 8,000 times to these women. They don't care. The women who are posting these things, they don't care, they know. Unless your bags are packed and in the car as you hit the post button, do not post it. Unless you already have an exit planned, stop.
People were acting like they didn't understand Chrishell's point of view on Selling Sunset this season. Just for everyone to always be angry at a woman who comes on the internet and tells us unsolicited about BS going on in her marriage, but decides not to leave. And look, I'm tired of it too, okay? I am also exhausted of all of these stories of women being like, my husband looked me in my eye and said that I'm not the hottest girl he's ever dated. My husband said I'm not the love of his life. My husband won't speak to me unless I have a wig on because I shaved my head. My husband didn't talk to me for 2 weeks because XYZ. I'm tired of the stories. And it feels like these women are crying out for help, but they don't have the strength to do what they know they need to do. So instead of just doing it, they come to the internet, tell us about it, have a bunch of people tell them, girl, you need to leave him, so that that voice in their head that said, girl, you need to leave him, immediately after he played in their face, can now be foisted onto someone else. They can externalize that. And now that it's externalized and it's coming from the randos in the phone who don't know us, don't know our marriage, don't know our situation, now it can be a bad guy. Now it can be fought against. And now the underlying desire to stay in the relationship, despite the fact that it is not where you need to be, can bubble up to the surface, and you can use that as a justification. And you're no longer having this war with yourself, you're having it with people in the phone. You're getting on TikTok and making videos and saying, look, I'm not going to leave my husband because he really loves me, and you don't see the 364 other days of our marriage, when I saw enough to know that you don't need to be married to that man anymore. And you've seen enough to know that you don't need to be married to that man anymore. But now you want to act like I'm the one who's telling you this for the first time ever. Okay.
So I want to use this comment to talk about why I believe it's such a common practice for women to defend their partners and the red flags that are apparent in their partners, instead of taking heed to those red flags and leaving early on. Because this goes beyond whether or not the partner's abusive. That partner could be ain't shit, and we will still have women who will defend their partner before they listen to those red flags. So let's talk about why. Let's take the scenario out of domestic violence, and let's just talk about women in heterosexual, especially relationships in general. When you have a patriarchal society where the majority of men are either subpar or harmful, there is an immense amount of pressure on women who date men to choose that exception to the rule. There is an insane amount of pressure on women to have vetted in their best interest and to have chosen the guy that defies all the odds. And I don't think we address that pressure enough. And to be honest, a lot of that pressure is not only inflicted by men, but it is also inflicted by each other. We hold each other to a very high standard to be able to choose the right guy for us. And if we don't, let's keep it a bean. There is a lot of shame and judgment in our choice of choosing incorrectly. Don't get me wrong, because I understand why the pressure exists. When it comes to who women choose romantically as men goes, you choose the wrong man, you can end up unalived. So the pressure is naturally going to be high. However, I think that socially we add extra pressure by being hella judgmental and hella critical of women who don't choose properly. The minute women find out that the man a woman chose is not a good man, here comes the judgment. Let's be real. Here comes the, oh, you didn't vet enough. Here comes the, well, you should have left sooner. Here comes the harsh criticisms of what she did wrong, with very little criticism of him, of his behaviors. But there is this really strong pressure within our own community of women to choose right, and if you don't, baby, that's your fault. So keeping that pressure, keeping that judgment, and keeping that shame in mind, a lot of women navigate their dating lives in a defensive way off rip. Think about how prevalent the phrase, "don't have me looking stupid out here," is for women to use towards men. Who are we looking stupid to based off of his actions? Usually each other. Also keep in mind that who we choose in romantic partners can, not always, but can say a lot about where our character, our values, and our morals lie. And because your choice in partner can be a reflection of your character, your values, and your morals, that's a very vulnerable action that is publicly being seen, which can lead to extra defensiveness when people who see it don't like what they see. So with all that being said, you as a woman begin dating a guy. You think that he has a lot of great qualities and some not so good qualities, but you're willing to overlook it because, hey, we're all human. We all have pros and cons, right? Here come your friends who are well-intended, but they're saying, girl, he's got some red flags. He's doing this, he's doing that. I don't know how I feel about him, girl. No matter how well-intended you are as the friend trying to make your friend aware of the red flags you see, there's a high chance of your friend receiving that or feeling that shame, that judgment, and that criticism that we women do to each other socially. Because while you may be saying that you see red flags in him, what she may be hearing and receiving is, I think you made a bad choice in who you allowed in your space. And in this society, one of the worst things you can do as a woman is to make a bad choice in who you choose to allow in your space romantically. That is one of the worst things you can do. And that is a reality that a lot of women do not want to face in the moment of making said choice. Now, I've described all of this outside of the scope of abuse. Let's add that bitch in, okay? Now imagine all I said whilst being with an abusive man who is actively manipulating you and who is following up any kind of red flags with an overproduction of good behavior, completely throwing your judgment out of whack. Your friends coming to you and saying, hey, I see these red flags, it's a little fishy. All you're seeing is the overproduction of the good behavior that follows said red flag. So in your mind, hey, he's human. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So I don't want to hear what you got to say because he's apologized. He's taken me on a trip. He's bought me this. He's done that for me. So we're good over here. So in conclusion, between the man's abusive, manipulative behaviors and the social pressure that women apply on each other and men for us to choose the right guy, the perfect guy, the one who is different from all the rest, it's really easy to understand why women don't listen to red flags or ignore those signs early on. That desire to have chosen right, combined with the inconsistency of manipulation and abuse, is a recipe for disaster, and I hope this makes sense. So as far as solutions go, if we want for women to be willing to listen, to take heed to red flags, and to leave, then I think as women, we should serve as safer spaces to land when our choices and male partners don't pan out the way we thought that they would. Respectfully, I don't believe that women as a whole do a good job of maintaining compassion, empathy, and understanding for women who are victims of DV and women who date Asian men in general. We tend to criticize and judge more than we extend grace and empathy. And that lack of grace and empathy leaves a presence of coldness. And that coldness is a huge reason why we will see women who will choose to stay with that man than to leave said man and go back to the community, because going back to the community is going back to that coldness. So if we want to see things change, then we as women should come together and understand that this issue is systemic more than it is individualistic, and that our empathy, compassion, and understanding is the key to getting women to leave situations earlier, more successfully. Hope this makes sense.
I'm sorry, but I'm so fucking tired of wives getting on here and posting shit about their husbands and like the shit that their husbands say, and then they get mad when people tell them to break up with them, get a divorce, like do something with them. They're like, guys, my husband is like the most awesome man on earth. Yes, I did just say that he said I'm a lazy sack of fucking bones and that I need to die, but like, he sometimes gives me a massage, okay? Like, that's Pookie. We've been together since high school. Like, bitch, you can't post this bullshit online and expect people to not have something to say because you posted to vent. You know what this app is. And did you expect it to blow up? No, but you at least get like 2 or 3 comments. What'd you think? They were all gonna be positive or what? Because I just saw this woman's video and she was talking about how her husband was like, why do you always do this on my days off? She booked an ultrasound appointment to get a polyp on her uterus checked out, which, by the way, men of the internet, that's pretty serious and you should get that checked out because it can lead to a bunch of different issues. And he was like, why do you always do this on my day off? Like, seriously, I have an appointment to go to the dealership and like get my truck fixed or some bullshit like that. And so he would have to watch their daughter. He was like, who's gonna watch our daughter? You? And she like told him a month in advance and then told him a week before and like still made sure everything was fine, and then the day of he acted like that. I'm like, girl, you can't post that and expect people not to be like, girl, this is really weird. Like, this is not good. And then she was like, guys, like, I just love him and
we're not getting a divorce. Like, my husband's the greatest man, the greatest father. He loves being a father. Clearly fucking not.
Here's my take. Y'all know how when married women get on here and they show like a clip of their husband doing something that's completely incompetent or like demeaning in some way, and then everybody hop on their ass and tell them like, no, that's not normal behavior. You need to get rid of your man, X, Y, and Z. And then they come back defending them story. Here's my theory on it. I truly believe that some married women don't recognize that they are actually in relationships with incompetent people. They feel like everyone, including other married women, are in these same kind of, this is how everybody's husbands act, right? So when they get confronted with people that are telling them like, girl, that's not okay, they then turn what y'all see as them as defending that man. They're defending their own choices, because at the end of the day, the person you choose to be with is exactly that. You choose to be with them. So she's trying to argue the fact that this man is competent. I did choose a competent partner, because it's now looking bad on her as the woman, because at the end of the day, the person that you choose, the partner that you choose, is completely up to you. I don't care how many children you have with that person. I don't care what type of lifestyle you have with that person. I don't care how many years you've been with that person. If you wake up and choose that person every single day, you are choosing to be there. There's nothing that you can say about that. So she is arguing her decision.